Alright, how's it going, guys? This is getting recorded late at night, so we're going to try to keep it a little bit quiet with this one. So, we are going to be looking at some old Steam forum guides on Borderlands 2. So pretty much whatever we find, it's going to crack into it, see what it is, see if it's still relevant, see if it's not, see if there's anything to learn from it, just stuff like that basically. Alright, so I've done this before, and I went ahead and figured out where I was in it, and so pretty much anything from here down we should have already done, because I did try to start from the back and work towards the front, just because that'll probably get us a bunch of older results that way. So this is a Vora guide for Maya. I thought I would put this Steam community guide up in the hopes that it will help the solo Siren players out there defeat this new raid boss. Okay, so this is when it was like pretty darn new then. The boss is Vora the Invincible, and he is available as a mission in Sir Hammerlock's, basically Sir Hammerlock's big game hunt. Everybody pretty much knows how to spawn him now. Before attempting this fight, you will need a very specific set of equipment to make it all work. Okay, the Fire Norfleet. You don't really need a Fire Norfleet. You could use like pretty much any rocket launcher that can get you a second wind. Probably Norfleet obviously would be best. A Fire Topneo would also be great. A Bada-Boom, a decent bandit rocket launcher. Pretty much anything like that, just to get second winds off of midgets, of course. Trespasser, still relevant. But we could also use the Amigo Sincero now, since it is just a semi-auto version that has a higher base damage. So that would also be a great pick for this. Fire Elemental Sandhawk, honestly, great pick. I mean, of course you're playing Maya, Legendary Cat. I hope they had that. It's been so long. Okay, level 50. We didn't have a Legendary Cat, but we had stuff going on. Okay. B-Shield, obvious, right? Fire Damage Relic, and a Banshee Comm. Are we... okay, I think we're... are we dropping our health to get the Immolate to permanently proc? What are we doing here? I gotta know. Alright, here's an image of the skill tree setup that I used to complete this fight. The most important thing here is to use max points in the Immolate skill. Okay. When you enter the arena of Vora, you will notice that he is alone just waiting to eat your face off. I like it. Begin the fight with the B shield plus Fire Sandhawk and do as much damage as you possibly can. After a few seconds, Chief Ngwatu will spawn. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. I think that's just how a lot of us pronounce it now. Ngwatu. Probably. Hopefully. Key to beating Vora is to kill the Chief as fast as you can. That's kinda true. You should warn people though, and I'm hoping they will, that once the Chief dies, Vora enters enraged state, so he attacks more frequently. He's just a big old grumpy meanie boy, and so hopefully that's just noted here, because that is good to know. I think he's going to mention that the B-Shield is corrosive res, because that's the only dot that can be taken from Vora, and so that's really concerning to deal with. Maybe not so much back when it was level 50, probably more now that it's OP 10, and the boss has a doubled health pool at OP 10 because it's bugged for some reason. Okay, so yeah, the key to beating Vora is to kill the Chief as fast as you can. The Chief has an extremely high capacity shield but very low health. Basically, the Chief starts off with Vora's shield. If you kill the Chief while he has the shield, Vora does not get that shield, so a lot of people will just start the fight like that. They'll go ahead and just do that to get things rolling. It's really, really nice for that. So this is still pretty much correct. Yeah, so Vora will steal the shield from the Chief, making the fight basically impossible. Not true. Just takes a lot longer, or you just have to wait it out. So you would use your Trespasser or the Amigo Sincero now. Get the Slag. Go ahead and get your headshots in. You should be able to take him out. Even at OP 10, it's still kind of doable. It might be a little bit harder though. The next phase of the strategy is to let yourself be put into fight for your life. This may sound strange, but it is the key to doing insane damage with Maya using this build. Having so many points in Immolate means that when you are downed, you get a massive fire damage bonus added to all of your shots. It's time to whip out that Fire Norfleet. At this stage in the fight, Small Maniac Midget Savages will be spawning. All you have to do is shoot your Norfleet directly at Vora when you are downed. The splash damage will be more than enough to kill the smaller enemies on the field, meaning that you will have a chance to revive and reload. Repeat this process until Vora dies. This is still a very difficult fight, but this method indeed works and feels very satisfying to defeat such a tough raid boss using legitimate techniques. Okay, I don't think this works anymore. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I just get a very strong feeling that our damage does not scale the same way that it used to, and there's no way that the immolate thing is good for this anymore. Realistically, what are we going to do in the modern day? We have 80 skill points, well, 76 skill points. We have 10 OP levels to combat, so most of this kit is still correct, right? Except for the Banshee Com, we would replace with a legendary cat. The Elemental Relic would be a bone. And then of course we would stack heavier into the build. Maybe a Herald swap and a Grog swap, because the healing is rough, right? So we need to be able to heal as well as we can for this fight, at least nowadays. Maybe not back then, maybe not at level 50, but nowadays, just due to the fact that 2 shots is death, right? That's just all it takes at this point. So you need to have basically a Herald Grog swap so that you can shoot Herald swap to Grog, pellets hit, you get heals, life is better. And then probably for our build, I would assume, I don't know if it's correct, but I think we would spec into Thoughtlock for this build. I love Scorn, I really do. But if you're playing solo and you need the boss to not be looking at you, you could Thoughtlock a midget. And then the midget is a distraction, at least for a little bit. That might give you a chance to get your B shield back up, but with it being Vora, he's probably just going to yell and break your shield in like 5 seconds. So like, you still might get some time out of it, but that'll really be it. And then a generic Maya build, I guess, all your damage skills, maybe like Sweet Release or Elated, since you're going to be having an enemy grabbed and you're probably going to see them killed by the end of it. Normal Maya stuff. The main problem with the fight now, especially at OP 10, with the difficulty and the scaling of Vora, is you basically have to play perfect for a really long time as Maya. It can take like 30 minutes to do the fight. It's really rough. You have to hope that your B shield caps out for your Sandhawk, or you could try to use something else. It would just be really, really hard. And then on top of that, you might have to end up swapping to a different weapon if you run out of ammo, like a Lady Fist or something like that instead. And then you would have to juggle staying as far away from Vora as possible so he doesn't lunge at you, on top of trying to maintain your health pool during his Novas, and then you would just have to dance with him. You have to figure out how he plays, how he moves. You get too close, he does his lunge attack, he attacks a couple times, it's scary. You stay far enough away, he doesn't really do it. It's really hard to set up, but if you can get him on one side of the arena, and then just kind of go around in a big ol' circle, usually you can keep him from getting too close and doing that lunge attack. And then you legitimately just have to do that, and then anytime he Novas, you shoot Herald, swap to Grog, get your health back, and repeat for like 30 minutes. And that's like one of the only good consistent ways to fight him as Maya at OP 10. It's just kind of rough nowadays. But like, if you're level 50, you're in like TVHM, this was probably incredible. This was like the most thoughtful build someone had to make to be able to defeat Vora, in which case that's totally fair. So this one is with Gage. I have to imagine it's basically going to be the same thing. Mecro, level 50 or level 61. 5 out of 5 in pre-shrunk Cyberpunk for the extra Anarchy. Slayer of Terra for the Anarchy. Sham Norfleet. Yes. Okay. This is an example of a classic build. Basically, you stack Anarchy. You Norfleet the boss. The boss just died. That's just how it used to work. That's all it took. That was all it really took. I am not a Gage player, so I cannot speak for how Gage is able to fight Vora in the modern setting, but I would imagine it would be very close to how someone would do like a Maya fight, just with Death Trap out instead of having Phase Lock for the Thought Lock potential. And you'd probably use like what, a Fibber for your damage, and then maybe like something else if you really need it. And then Anarchy would be great. Accuracy would feel bad, but like, doesn't matter. Anarchy, B-Shield, Crying, maybe a lot of yelling, it's Gage. Probably the same method. Gunzerker Pistol Wielder build, level 50, 61, and 72. Includes videos. Ooh, interesting. The skill build is mainly about Gunlust skill tree, since the purpose of this guide is to increase damage and fire rate. I have put full points in the most important skills. Attention. Adjust your points and fill to the brim skill of Rampage Tree so that your double penetrating Unkempt Herald can fire full last round, 6 ammo. For example, my Deepa has 28 magazine capacity, and 2 points in fill to the brim increases it to exactly 30 capacity, and 6 ammo is fired as the last round from the magazine. Okay. This guy probably didn't know what was going on at the time. There is no benefit to firing the exact amount of ammo needed in a shot. You fire the gun. If there's not enough ammo in the mag, it pulls from reserve. It does normal damage. That's all it has to do. So that's already a little bit weird. Of course, this is a really old guide from 2013. So it's really old. So that's kind of just fair. Level 50 Gunzerker skill build. Down Not Out is a must-have because it allows you to keep your Gunzerk through fight for your life. I agree. This is a really nice skill. Because a Gunzerker deals most damage when Gunzerking and you want to Gunzerk as long as possible, Last Longer should be maxed out. This is also true. Last Longer is just super duper nice. So I agree with that. And then at least 1 point in Hard to Kill is useful when you use a Titan or Legendary Berserker mods. Insight skill increases your move speed and reload speed when you take damage from enemies. Okay, what is Hard to Kill? Hold on. Oh, is that the one where you increase your max health pool? Okay. I'm on the fence about increasing your max health pool as any character, because at OP 10, obviously, this was level 50, having a bigger max health pool is fine, probably. You could just heal it, it's whatever. But at OP 10, your health pool is basically either a 2, a 1, or a 0. 2, full health. 1, halfway health, basically. And then 0, you're dead. Because the health gate is like the only thing that keeps most people from getting one shot in this game. And like, having extra health is cool, but it's the difference between taking 3 shots and like 2 shots to die. Let's be realistic here. So for me, personally, I would avoid getting that skill because you could put those points into something more useful that would actually keep you alive or keep you gunzerking longer or yada yada, stuff like that. But for them, this is probably fine. I wouldn't really do that, but like, if you wanted it because you have that skill point, might as well. Level 61, get 57 points in total. It'll let you get to here. Okay. Yeah, no, this is a perfectly fine build. If you were running a double pistol build, which they are, this totally works. I don't think Filled to the Brim is still necessary. I also don't think this cooldown skill is necessary. They could have put their points into Yippee-Ki-Yay here, because basically, well, okay, they didn't have the legendary Gunzerker quite yet, but basically, if you are Gunzerking well, you will get your Gunzerk back before you are done with your first Gunzerk, so you can Gunzerk again right after you finish your first Gunzerk. And then you can do that again, and then you can do that again. So you can basically just keep Gunzerking. So having a skill that reduces your action skill cooldown doesn't make a whole lot of sense for our build. It would be like if you were playing Krieg, you have Release the Beast, right? You get below 33% health, Buzz Axe, health is back, action skill instantly cooldown. You wouldn't put more like cooldown on that character because you don't need that cooldown unless you like messed up. but even then, just wait it out, save quit so that you get your cooldown, stuff like that instead. So this is the level 72 build. We'll see if it's pretty close. I mean, it's not bad. Obviously, once again, the cooldown skill needs to be moved down so that we can gunzerk longer. We definitely have a legendary gunzerker by now, so we could do that too. I have to figure out what class mod legendary berserker, but that's not what they're using. They're using a renegade comm, a hoarder, titan, raider, or a chaotic evil monk. Okay, this is a lot of options. I like the idea. That's really, really cool. I'm glad that they gave people ideas. I don't think the titan comm is necessarily great in this, like, well, now, basically. The renegade comm could be fun early on. That's a great idea to tell people. Hoarder comm, great early on, once again. Lets people get their ammo back because you can spend a lot of ammo as Sal if you're firing really fast, so that's good. The Raider comm is just a budget money shot comm, so like that makes sense, that's damage. Chaotic Evil Monk, that's just the optimal money shot comm, of course, because the fire and the crit. And then the Legendary Gunzerker isn't on here, but I would really love a Legendary Gunzerker on this build, because that would guarantee we can get our Gunzerk back off cooldown in the middle of a raid boss fight without having to get a single kill, because the amount of last longer and everything else just allows you to get that Gunzerk cooldown instantly, and so it would be super duper nice. They're running a Deepa, this is obvious. They're running a Slag pistol, they run a Ruby, obviously people would run a Grog, which, you know, like you have to have the quest, which is kind of annoying, but that is it. They are not mentioning the Lady Fist at all. The Lady Fist could be used as a swap off of the Grog to get extra crit damage, and then you could swap back so that you can get your heals again. The Relic is Sheriff's Badge. Sheriff's Badge makes sense. Fire rate, damage, whatnot, all that stuff, it's good. And then for the shield, no specific shield. I kind of agree. As a Salvador, you can get away with a lot. You could run a Sham so that you can rocket jump as a backup. You can run Evolution or Neogenator for the healing. You could run Rough Rider for the healing. You could run Hide of Terra for... I don't know why he wants a Hide of Terra, but you could, I guess. Yeah, actually, I don't know why he wants that one. Flame of the Firehawk would be good, though. Flame of the Firehawk would allow you to deal AoEs, and you could get dots on people so that you could constantly have healing from that at the very least if you had nothing else going on. And then the Bee Shield is great if you are in a raid boss scenario where the boss is not going to hit you very often, but you would probably get more benefit out of a Rough Rider, because with the Rough Rider's permanently broken status, you will have 25% chance to not consume ammo because of Inconceivable, and if I'm correct, the way that Inconceivable works is that while you are shooting, every half second, it decides whether or not you're going to spend ammo. So that's why sometimes you see people go on really long chains of money shot, is because it's not per bullet that they're firing, it's actually every half a second. It's deciding, do you spend ammo? No. Okay. Do you spend ammo? Yes. It's just doing that, and it's ticking every half a second to see what you should do, and that's where those really nasty money shot chains come from. And so that's kind of where that is. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me and show me, because I'm not 100% sure on the exact values and stuff, but like, let me know if I am a little bit off there. And then for the grenade mod, you're playing Salvador, so like, Slag, I guess a Quasar if you just want to pull things because Master G exists. Magic Missile is good because it regens grenade ammo. A Slag Crossfire is good because it'll get the most slag out. Probably just want to run a low-level grenade on Sal. The only real exception I would say for the low-level grenades, of course, would be like a fastball. Throw it at a mob, you get that overkill damage to proc, and then you can go ahead and use that overkill damage on other stuff. So stuff like that would be good. I'm going to go ahead and open up the BL2 skill tree calculator, and we're going to talk a little more specifically about how you might run this Salvador. First off, I'll go ahead and go through how I would go through progression on this character. I would always put 5 points into Insight first because I like to move fast. The reload speed is kind of nice too. Inconceivable is nice to have. Last longer lets me gunzerk more. I would go into I'm ready already. And then from here you would just get like Yippee-ki-yay, you would get some, and then you would get keep firing. Now, of course, if you're rushing and you're dumb, like me, you would probably want to go ahead and go down left tree and then get down not out so that you have your gunzerk early on. So that if you're like downed a lot because you're rushing and everything's high leveled and it's spooky, you have that, it's good for you. And then I like to go back down middle tree. From there, we can go ahead and put our points here. Once we have Yippee-ki-yay and to get some maxed out, I like to take points out of I'm ready already and put them in all of the reflexes. This will just allow us to get more DPS off. It will allow us to get our gunzerk off cooldown without needing to use this skill once again. If you want to put a point into steady as she goes, you could do that as well. And then from here, I would probably spec into like lay waste and keep it piping hot, and then no kill like overkill. Asbestos is good because you can buff that with your monk comm, get minus 80% negative status effect damage duration, and if you have any dot in the world, this is like incredible because dots in late game are terrifying. All out of bubblegum for the fire rate because we want to get our fire rate up for the inconceivable chains that could happen. I run Fistful of Hurt just for the funny knockback. You don't have to. You could put this into like autoloader so that you can load guns that aren't being held. Plus that can't slow down is really, really nice. And then we can go ahead and talk about like optional picks here. Now, obviously if you're running like double pistol, your Huckleberry is great. Divergent Likeness would also be great. Most people will never really use All I Need Is One because Money Shot is just obviously better. And then Filled to the Brim, I don't really use it personally because I find that with the inconceivable chains that I can get, it's usually pretty fine. It gets you closer to your money shots more often, and then you can chain them more often. But if you are running with a Jacob's weapon, you probably want to go ahead and back off of Inconceivable and go ahead and put some points into Filled to the Brim so that you can go ahead and avoid a really weird bug where basically Jacob's weapons, whenever you proc Inconceivable, can like halt them from reloading automatically. So you'll be like sitting there spamming your left click and then suddenly gun no work and you're like, why gun no work? And basically it's just because Inconceivable decided to proc, so the gun thinks it should still be able to shoot, but it can't because it's semi-auto, so it doesn't reload, but it doesn't fire, so you have to press reload, and then it reloads, and it can take a couple seconds before you register what happens, and then you just lose a lot of damage. So we just avoid it, and we put it in Filled to the Brim instead, just to keep it easy. If you're running a Hoarder build, 5 shots or 6 is hilarious. You can have, like, Topnia one hand, Grog other hand. You can achieve insane fire rates with that Topnia and just never reload it, and then the drunk effect kicks in, and then it just spews bullets everywhere. That's great. I don't really like hard to kill, because once again, at OP10, a lot of health, harder to heal, and a lot of health, more to heal. But that's personal. Of course, if you like your health, you like your health. I'm the Juggernaut does not work great in higher difficulty. The damage resistance does not feel accurate. It just does not. Everything does way too much damage, it just is not really worth taking. Ain't got time to bleed. Doesn't really matter because you're going to be using a Grog or like a Ruby on swap so that you can go ahead and heal that way. So you don't really need the healing from that. So that also covers Sexual Tyrannosaur. And then Come At Me Bro, basically the same thing as I'm the Juggernaut plus the other 2 skills. It takes more time out of your Gunzerk. You get damage reduction that's like really good temporarily. It's really, really short window though. And then people can just DPS through it anyway. And then Just Got Real. We don't really use it because they're just like moving faster is actually just more useful for some reason. Alright. Well, it has already been too long of a time to be talking about forum posts, and I've only really looked at like 3 posts. So I might do this again in the future. I might not. Kind of depends. You guys let me know what you think. Yeah, I guess that's it. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. See you later. Bye.